Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Landon Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Landon.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right. It's good for Roku investors this week. They announced that partnership with Amazon as far as their 80 million connected users using Amazon's digital platform. We talked about Amazon yesterday with Megan Brantley, and she was, singing the praises of Amazon, their growth in the advertising business, and this kind of cements it. But what kind of data are you guys seeing out of Roku? Are they expanding their footprint that, maybe will help them moving forward also with their users?
Yeah, I tell you what, it depends on what you look at. When we look at web visits, it's actually pretty flat. But when you look at app usage, and I think that's the more important one, they're up about 15% on a year-over-year basis on daily active users, now up to 2.4 million daily active users. And people are using the app either to, view content directly, or they can actually use it as a remote control for their devices. So this really tells us that that Roku is really, taking advantage of their technology, and their consumer base is growing. Now, it's interesting because the pie is growing. I mean, streaming is obviously taking off. For the first time, they finally took over cable plus broadcast as a medium, which is, if you would ask me that, I would have told you it was 5 years ago, but apparently that just happened. So streaming is really taking off, but the competition is also coming in, and they're starting to lose some of their share. So their share for connected TVs went from 55 down to 39. Fire TV, Samsung TV, both taking a bite out of them. But because streaming is growing so rapidly, they're able to continue to increase their user base. So I think they're the leader in a very quickly growing industry, but the competition is big, and they're coming after them. So it's pluses and minuses here with Roku. Obviously, big news on Amazon. I think that one of the things that people don't realize is how much this is going to increase the appeal for advertisers. They did a test where they were able to get using the same advertising budget, they were able to hit 40% more unique viewers and have 30% less repeat ads. So you're getting your advertising out to more people for the same amount of money, not hitting the same person over and over again, which is, of course, going to lead to more advertising. So very strong there. And we know that their revenue is up significantly, I think 25% year over year. Users are up to 4.2 hours per day on Roku, which is incredible. And they've got, I think, they talk about a path to profitability next year, sometime in 2026. That's going to be a big moment. I think everyone kind of sees it coming, but when it finally hits and you see that plus on the EPS, you're going to be really excited. So overall, generally very positive for Roku, but just I think investors need to be aware that they're losing their slice of the pie, but the pie is growing really quickly. So it's a kind of a good spot to be in, but there's a little yellow flag there with Roku.
And 50% of all streamers are on Roku. And now Roku being able to use the ad buying system from Amazon, I'm not usually a skeptical person, Landon, but doesn't this just sound like the start of a relationship that's going to end? I don't know anything with Amazon owning Roku. Isn't that what this seems like, the first step, that a couple of years from now we're going to look and say Amazon's going to take Roku and just add to that streaming? Because going forward, this just looks like a relationship that is destined to grow, Landon.
Yeah, I mean, they are, obviously they make good partners here. Now we'll see how things shake out. I mean, you could get a little bit more skeptical and say Amazon's going to take advantage of this partnership and they're going to continue with the Fire TV to compete, to bring down the value of Roku and then buy them. I mean, that could be, a little bit of a play that they can make. But either way, I think that the direction for Amazon is really strong, and the direction for Roku is pretty strong. Definitely a boost for this partnership. I mean, now that, if you look at the overall streaming services in the world, Roku's #2 behind YouTube. I mean, that's incredible. It's an incredible spot to be in. They're doing a great job. Obviously, this is the David versus Goliath. I mean, I don't know how many people think of Roku as a small company more, but they used to be and they were going up against Apple TV and all these others that just seemed like you had no chance against. But they made, they built the better mousetrap. They did a great job with the UI UX. And they brought in a lot of people. They have, I think, the highest rated customer happiness that we track among all streamers. So that's why people love them. I mean, you can actually connect 26,000 different apps on Roku. So it's a one-stop shop for all your content. And now with the partnership, I think they're going to really leverage their advertising dollars and really appeal to those advertisers even more. So I really like the direction of the company. I am, again, a little bit worried about some of the share that they're losing, but the pie is growing so quickly, and it's by far the most favorite service that we track as far as consumer happiness. So still very bullish on Roku. And yeah, I think eventually you could get to that day where your shares of Roku turn into Amazon shares and you get some cash for it. So as an investor, obviously I would look forward to that as well.
Landon, when you look at this, the competition in this space, Roku, they're embedded in some TVs now. Amazon, I believe they have Vizio now at this point. So when you look at connected TVs in the future, smart TVs in the future, you're not going to need Roku, right? Because the TV is going to be doing all the aggregation for you. My TV currently does it, where I don't need Roku because I can bring up all these different apps myself on my TV. Is that going to be something you have to think about with this company moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's the threat, right? I mean, so Roku used to be a hardware company, and they still do have hardware. As you guys just showed all the sticks and the boxes and whatnot, but it's really an app. I mean, that's what it is. It's an app on your television and on your phone, and that's the power of it. And the thing about it right now is, and this is honestly, it's kind of surprising that they have held this UI and UX lead for so long. And I'm talking about user interface, user experience. It is so much better than other services, and you actually can feel a difference. And so until that gap gets narrowed, which again, I can't believe that some of these larger companies don't have better UI and UX, and they can't just copy Roku, frankly. But they haven't been able to, and they haven't been able to catch up for that reason. And I think Roku has established itself as having a reputation of, if you have Roku on your TV, you're good to go. You're going to be able to find everything. You don't need anything else. And then for those people that were used to that and they go buy another TV, they kind of got to learn how the Samsung one works. They got to learn how Fire TV works, and it's just kind of frustrating. And so I think that's their advantage. Again, I can't believe it's lasted this long, but it's going to continue to last because they're not able to catch up. So that's their advantage. Obviously they want to be in as many TVs as possible, but the fact that it's just an app means that it can be essentially in any TV. And so that's, I think, the future. Their hardware sales should continue to decline as the software takes over, and they continue to pump out those ads. So they're on the right side of things. It's just, that is the threat, is as soon as Samsung comes out with an interface that is better than Roku's, then they can start really expanding that lead, or expanding their user base and cut into Roku's lead.
Yeah, nice thing is they're getting these partnerships, so maybe that helps in the long run. All right, great stuff as always, Landon. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Landon Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio, breaking down Roku for us. So they sounded pretty positive.